Good morning, Oxon Hill.
Good morning.
Friends. I'm honored to introduce our guest speaker for today. Reverend Dr. John Warren is a native of New York. He is currently pastor of Concord St. Andrews in Bethesda, Maryland. In the bulletin, you'll see an exhaustive list of credentials and accomplishments. Pastor John, as we refer to him, was pastor here at Oxon Hill for 8 years. He's been married to Betty for 20 years. Get the number right?
Well, it'll be 20 this year.
Okay. His daughter Elizabeth, and he also has a son, Paul David. It's really a pleasure for me to introduce Pastor John because it was about 10 years ago. My daughter was 2 months old when we first walked into this church, and he was pastor here, and he made us feel welcome. And from that day to this very day, Pastor John, his wife Betty, and Elizabeth, they've been friends to myself and my daughter, and they've actually helped us get through some of our darkest times. And for that, I want to publicly say thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I also have the pleasure of helping introduce Pastor John and saying how much we appreciate your being here with us, meaning somebody else is taking your duties at your church. So we are aware of that and we appreciate it. And so happy to have the young lady who we saw grow up from a baby. And I don't know why it's so shocking, but Elizabeth is a young woman now. She is 13 years old, and she's a lovely young woman. It's such a pleasure to see you. And then Betty, who hasn't changed a bit since we last saw you. Lovely and gracious as ever. It's such a joy celebrating these 200th year anniversaries. It's such a joy seeing all of our brothers and sisters in Christ here, those who come here now, who came here before, who are perhaps visiting, who visit regularly, and who are coming back after having been away for a while. It's a wonderful feeling. We're very thankful to God for these blessings of the celebrations and for the 200 years. But most of all, we embrace our multicultural union here. And we're aware that, as Pastor Miguel tells us all the time, that everything isn't just is, it is a process. Am I right? If you don't believe me, you can look at the reminder on the backs of our bulletins where it clearly says, "Welcome to Oxon Hill United Methodist Church. We strive to grow as a welcoming, multicultural community of faith and fellowship in Jesus Christ, open to all of God's people. We recognize that we are still growing. We recognize that it's an evolutionary process, and we recognize that 8 years of Pastor John's life were spent here, and that certainly he contributed to this process. We thank you, Pastor John. Also, we have some fond memories. Pastor John is a good sport. I remember asking him at the 11th hour to take a major role in Vacation Bible School drama. Not only did he do it, he was there every night. He brought his own costume, and he did a wonderful, convincing job. Everybody enjoyed that, especially the children, who just believed that he was the character he was playing. We remember a drama that Betty offered to do. She had put it together for another church they had been assigned to. And this was a drama that we did on Monday, Thursday. And it was the Last Supper. And she saw to it that we practiced. Now, this was where we were doing some ecumenical ministries. And so we did it at Southminster Presbyterian. But we did have members from this congregation, St. Paul's, my memory fails me, but it's the Christian church at the top of the hill, Henson Valley. And Betty made us practice and practice and practice. And it paid off because it was a wonderful experience for all of us involved in that and for the people who came to the service and to the drama. I remember that as a highlight, Betty. Thank you so much. Pastor John, welcome back to Oxon Hill